Alright guys, we are back. I'm not quite in game just yet, but I wanted to just not necessarily defend, but just to throw something out there. The reason I said it was game 3 and not 4 is because the first game by default went to CLG. Because they went through the upper brackets, they were given a 1-0 lead going into this best of 5. So this is theoretically game 4, but actually it's game 3. That's the reason I said that. Either way, now we've got that out the way, let's get into this matchup. 15 seconds through, right fresh in the infancy of this Medion Challenge Cup final. Moscow 5, CLG.eu currently stands at 2-1 to CLG. Moscow 5 did win that last game, so perhaps they can get some momentum together and start to pile down that pain train on CLG. I'm joined by Broken Shard, and do you expect to see any Team 1 fights kicking off?
Well, both teams have quite a strong level 1. Wicked can throw axes and pick them up again, so like those axes really take a number out in someone's HP. And, not only that, he can continuously spam those. On top of that, Froggen will be able to land the binding. So both teams have quite a good level 1 fight in the sense that Genja able to spam that Q, Ghost of Pepper with a stun. It'd be in Moscow 5's best interest to try to disrupt Snoopy's early jungle, since I don't really think that they want to let Snoopy get as much of an advantage as possible in the early jungle. On the side note, Diamond's going to be looking forward to taking his buffs and then trying his best to stop Snoopy from ganking top, which is really where we see him most of the time.
And we haven't seen Nautilus so far in this matchup. I just want to ask you from a jungler's perspective, obviously you do play a lot of jungle, what is the best way of countering Nautilus?
If I knew, I would let you know. The best way to counter Nautilus, disrupt him early game. That's the best advice I can give anybody. If you can disrupt his early game before he ramps up, or try to counter gank him while he's weak, you'll have the advantage. But until then, Nautilus is just so strong nowadays. Nautilus going for red. This is the first time I've really ever seen Nautilus go for red. Snoopy must have some ulterior motive behind doing this. Yellow Pete coming in to try to help him out with this. He will not end up smiting this, so he will possibly take this and then go to his blue, but Snoopy already below half HP. Nautilus isn't one of those junglers who can effectively do this strategy, which is, do the red and then go to the blue, or do the blue and then go to the red, because he needs shield at least level 2 before he can tank the buffs effectively. Now Snoopy gonna rush the blue. You're gonna see how beat up he's gonna get from this.
Yeah, he does have Smite off cooldown again. I mean, whenever I normally see Nautilus doing this tactic, it kind of has a declaration of intent that he wants to go and gank mid. Because that red buff will slow down, it does damage over time as well, of course. And with the regrowth pendant and the health pot, he can chug through that before going there. But obviously Snoopy isn't going to be following that vein, and he's actually going to be taking the blue and then the wolves on top of that. So I'm a bit puzzled as well as to why he didn't just start off on blue itself.
Some people in chat are saying that he would prefer to start. Oh, Alex DC's right there. Hopefully he'll be back. Some people calling for a remake. The reason that that he would start for his red is simply because because he doesn't want to fight for the red. But looks like we're gonna get a remake.
Yeah, a lot of players starting to bow out here. So it looks like we are gonna get a remake, and this is kind of unfortunate, but one of those things. I guess the good thing is that it was relatively early into the game, so no first bloods had gone off, nothing to really make anybody doubt that decision. I have just got an invite, so hopefully we'll be right back into this again.
Yeah, Froggen yelling, "Next time I kill you, Alex!" No, but really good sportsmanship from CLG here. Remaking for the sake of to let Alex get back and have a fair game. I'm pretty sure this is how they wanted to end the series if they were going to win. They wanted to win it fairly.
Yes, it is good sportsmanship, and I think the rules will dictate, and obviously, correct me if I'm wrong here, Broken Shard, but I assume they have to pick the same champions, right? Same bans and picks?
I believe so. I'm not sure how remakes work.
Well, I'll actually message an admin and I'll find out firsthand, because I don't want to state categorically they will be picking the same champions and then they just basically don't. So I'm going to throw a quick question there. I'm already in, by the way, Bass. I think we're all in apart from you, dude. Same, I joined manually. It's made by Crepo. Scumbag Crepo. And you know the password already. I know some of you guys thought I was going to spill the password.
No.
Mm-mm. Right, Smuggy's back in, so we have all 10 players and both casters in here, and yeah, we are just going to be going for the picks straight away. And yeah, it is going to be the same picks used here. Diamond Prox has Singe, but I'm expecting to see that switch over to Nocturne. There you go, just waiting for Genja now. Yep, so we do have all the picks going in. We are going to have another 3-minute delay, I think. Yeah, it will be the case. So, Bass, would you like to go to a music break, or what would you like to do, dude?
Well, I saw this really cute pair of shoes yesterday.
Ah, cool.
The fact that you're interested just makes you so very questionable right there, Medion.
Dude, do you honestly, from my reaction of do you actually think I was interested?
You were totally interested in that.
I must be an epic actor then, if that's the case. I've got to admit, I'm not really the fashionable type, dude. So do tell me about the awesomeness and intricacies of the shoes that you saw.
Well, they were. There was a hole to put the foot in,
Really?
and then there was this thing to hold the foot. It was awesome.
That
Being in
sounds
the
like
army,
a.
being in the army, I pretty much wear the same clothes every day. I put on the uniform, I put on army boots, and then I just go to work. I mean, there isn't really much. I don't really have much of a fashion taste nowadays. So, I don't really know much about fashion. I leave that to my girlfriend.
Oh, you had to fit the girlfriend in there. After starting a conversation about shoes, you had to just secure that masculinity right at the end, huh?
Being a man, it's the only thing I can do right.
Being a man, I like shoes, but I also like women, so
Manly
it's
man.
all good. Anyway, yeah, you're in the army. I didn't realize
Yes,
that.
I'm in the army.
Ah.
Mandatory service.
Well, that turned into quite a strange conversation. Bass doesn't want to switch to music because it screws the recording process up, which we understand. So you may have to put up with some random dribble for the next 2 minutes or so.
Oh, you, boss. Oh, you.
Wow, Bass. Trolling from a different country, that's how he rolls. Apparently, the head admin got messaged, SMS, like, spammed. When Bass went up with the intermission song, was saying that we were going to go to sleep and stuff when he was trolling, because that's the kind of guy he is. And this head admin got spammed, and he was, like, going to take action or something. So, yeah. Bass, number1troll.eu.
People who
By the
think
way,
Boss is number one troll in EU has obviously never met Lunette in solo queue. I think anybody above 2K will agree with me this second. Like, everyone who hears it is instantly going to say, yeah, he's right. Lunette in solo queue, real terror.
oh, by the way, just to kind of explain some of that random awkward silence, you can't hear Bass, but we can. So that's the reason why sometimes we may stop talking because Bass is talking in our ears. And do tell what's so special about Lunette's trolling in solo queue.
It's Lunette. He'll play whatever the hell he wants, no matter what. Like, even if it doesn't fit the team comp, he will pick it. Like, one time he's like, I'm gonna go Kog'Maw top lane, and then builds, like, Bruiser Kog'Maw. We ended up winning that game, but it was hilarious. I mean, I kind of love and hate meeting Lunette in solo queue. I love it because I'm gonna see something new and something hilarious. But, the second he picks Blitzcrank, you know he wants to win Elo. That guy has such a strong Blitzcrank.
Well, speaking of Blitzcrank, we have seen him in a couple games tonight from Gosu Pepper. Now, this time it's not going to be the case. He's going to be taking a Tarek, and we are into the loading screen. So take 2 of the Medion Cup Challenge game number 3 or 4, depending on your preference. Either way, the scoreline is currently 2-1 right now to CLG. Overall is 1-1. I guess you could say, although CLG had a win going into this matchup, so they are ahead. It's down to Moscow 5 now to win the next 2 consecutive games. Otherwise, CLG are going to have it. They're going to have the €1,000 prize purse, and on top of that, 5 Medion gaming laptops. And for second place, it is 5 Medion USB gaming mice and 5 Medion speakers. And I think we're live into the game now. Yes, we are. So, Broken, take it away, dude. Which of these 2 teams do you think is going to come out on top?
I really don't want to say a thing until it happens, because I know if I say I'm wrong, I'm going to get so much trash for it. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be a good game, and even that is risky to say.
Right on the fence. That's the thing, though. As a caster, you're kind of trash no matter what you say. So it's kind of freedom in that way.
Damned if I do, damned if I don't, pretty much.
But in that way, it's a nice sense of freedom that whatever happens, people will hate you, so you just get on with it. But either way, yeah, we are going to have the 2 teams just lining up against each other. I do love Meat, that Vladimir skin, of course, a legendary skin. Very similar opening, actually, to first time, where Olaf and Soraka are going to just stand next to those wraiths. Throws in the undertow, does land onto Darien, and the ward will go down on top of that, but they don't have enough damage to take the ward down before it goes invisible. Darien will be recalling, and we're just going to have a standard start. I think last time we did see Snoopy picking up the wraiths, then the red, and then going over towards blue. Looks like he's going to be doing the same this time as well.
I don't think Moscow 5 managed to pick up on that, so they're not really sure. Or I could be mistaking, and, who knows. But who? Yeah. No! No, they were so close. They almost got that ward. Wow, if only Darien could hit just a little bit faster, that ward would have gone right down.
This is pretty much a carbon copy of last game. Everyone doing the same thing. No one switching anything up there. Snoopy going to be starting off on the Wraith. Morgana's going to be helping from the backside, just taking some of that damage away. And then Snoopy will be pushing onto that red. In the meantime, on the other side, you are going to have Nocturne taking down this red buff. And Tarek alongside Ezreal just took the Wolves.
My apologies. I was kind of behind on stream because I jumped in just a little bit late. That was my bad there. Now I'm yeah, I didn't notice. Best viewer ever. And looks like it's the exact same start. Snoopy's going to take this red. Still taking a huge beating from this red buff. He's going to be able to pass on through. Diamond rushing to his blue now, going to pick that up. This is pretty much the same start we see Diamond do almost every game.
See, I was wondering what you're talking about when he said if only Darien could attack faster, but then I understood it's that ward next to Wraiths, wasn't it? You were like 20 seconds behind or something. Okay, it all makes sense. It's all becoming clear, but we are going to have the aforementioned Darien at top lane facing off against Wicked, so Irelia facing off against Olaf, and definitely one to watch out for as the game progresses on. Nautilus, in the meantime, is going to be making short work of this blue, just picks it up there, and Nocturne also finished off his, so identical jungle right now from the 2. And which of these is going to try and pounce top? Is the lovely Broken Shard said yesterday, in his opinion, first double buffed jungler to top lane wins. So if we're taking a leaf out of that book, which of these 2 is going to make those strides first?
It looks like Diamond Proc now finishing his Wraiths. He's going to pass over that ward, so they know he's heading top. Wicked's going to just be a little bit... We see a ping going on there. He's just kind of like making Wicked a bit scared because instead of rushing top lane, he's going to pick up these double golems. He does this a lot. Like, he runs through a ward on purpose to sort of play people. Snoopy is in the bottom side of his jungle, where maybe he'll gank bottom, but I strongly don't see that happening simply because the damage output isn't there from Kog'Maw in the early game. Mid lane might have a bit of a gank, but then again, Vlad has heal and pool. So now Diamond procs his top lane. Wicked has been pushing, and we'll see if he's able to make something happen, though I think Wicked just saw him. Yeah, he's just going to chase Wicked out.
Yeah, he definitely caught a glimpse there, and that was enough to send him packing back towards his tower. So Nocturne slightly out of position, tiny bit premature, and Wicked will be fine. He has started to push again, though. He needs to be careful here, because Diamond could feasibly still come out of that bush. He is recalling. And will he cancel this? No, he won't. So he's going to go back. And in the meantime, Nautilus is going to take this opportunity to try and steal these Wraiths, actually. So I like this from Snoopy, realizing that Nocturne was just at the top, and he's going to use that smite, pick up the big Wraith, and pull himself back.
Diamond opening up with a dagger. I think he's really wanting to rush that Zerker Greaves. This is not something I see very often, although there was a member of a team called Time6 EST who plays Nocturne, who rushes Zerker Greaves and then Triforce after, though I see him on solo queue quite often. I don't think Diamond Prox is very interested in a solo queue build, though.
Well, it's interesting, and maybe trying his best to go through this jungle as fast as possible so he can be a featuring role at the top lane. You're going to see Wicked going back, though. In the meantime, he has just dinged himself to level 5. What's he going to be building up here? He has a Ninja Tabi boots, 4 health pots, and a Sight Ward. Of course, he does know that Diamond Prox is being quite active towards that top lane, so you can understand why he's going to go for the very, very fast ward there. Put it down at top and give himself visibility and a bit of security on top
doing
of that.
the Spider-Man, jumping around. See how slow he is? If he had boots, he might have been able to really pressure bot lane, but now, I mean, he's just sort of wobbling into the lane. Spider-Manning across lanes like a Spider-Man.
There was a ward down there as well towards the river/dragon, so they did see him coming down, and they were able to pull themselves back. But as you say, that maneuverability is not so great on him so far, so he's really going to be relying on poor ward placement, maybe the ward's running out, the right place at the right time, and then pouncing. He hasn't even attempted to go towards that top lane yet. Here comes Nocturne, actually, as the Wraiths have just spawned, so the two junglers are going to be popping head to head. And the mere presence of Nautilus is going to be enough to send Nocturne going back. He is going to stay around, though. And I don't think he actually got that steal off, although I didn't quite catch it.
Snoopy out-leveling Diamond. Diamond's been running around a lot, and Diamond also has been back by. So, in top lane we kind of see some aggression going on. Wicked did not force his heal. Darien is now out of mana. Nothing really too big here. Wicked's just going to be perfectly content farming up these creeps.
Yeah, more than happy to take the creeps down, give himself some nice items. All he really has just went back to spawn. What is she going to add? Has a 1,350 gold. Straight out Phage getting added to her weapon disposal. So, nice start from her. It's going to keep her in lane for a bit longer, do a bit more damage on top of that. And maybe if the Phage can proc off, could be the difference between a successful gank with Nocturne and an unsuccessful one. So, definitely one to watch out for.
Yeah. I just went ahead and took a look at chat, and I saw that people sort of took a couple of shots for that Spider-Man comment there. Diamond is now at his red buff, he's going to wait for that, but it was like, yo dog, I heard you liked Spider-Man, so wait for the Spider-Man in your Spider-Man so you can Spider-Man while you Spider-Man. I thought that was quite clever and hilarious. So Diamond's going to pick up this red. It's going to put him very close to 6. After he takes this red, he's probably going to head over to Wolves and then to blue, because his blue will be spawning in the next 20 seconds. And the good thing about it is that he can take this blue, because Alex does not need blue. But maybe, Alex will decide that the cooldown reduction will help him, which is definitely acceptable. Although Nocturne will be able to use his blue to just Q everything. The reduced cooldown on his ultimate will also help his frequent ganks. Though Snoopy hasn't ganked at all yet. He's stepping on a ward, they know that he's right here. But I guess they also know that this blue is respawning. And currently, Moscow 5 could be in a very bad situation if they do not play this correctly.
Yeah, Snoopy is currently level 6. He did go back and buy up some boots of speed. So he is going to be definitely quicker around the map right now. Nocturne is still in the same position, and he saw that ward go down. So quite strange from him. Now going to try and recall. Nautilus doesn't seem to be falling for this one bit. We are going to have an engagement between these two. Riptide has been popped off, and the dredge line, but the flash coming out from Diamond Prox through the wall there. That is going to save his life, because you had Morgana and Soraka in hot pursuit. Going to try and steal this blue on top of everything else. And it looks like they are going to pick that one up. Yes, they will. Nautilus using the smite to finish things off nicely. So once again, we're going to see some counter jungling paying off well.
Counter jungling from Nautilus, that's actually quite uncommon to see. Nautilus is by far not the best early jungler right here. What a nice binding, though.
Beautiful binding coming out there, and the soul shackles on towards Alex, flashing away to his tower. Because he knew he was going to get stunned regardless of what happened. Best to be under your tower where you have a bit of safety rather than out in the open. But Summoner Spell has been popped, and Snoopy starting to become much more active and much more of a threat in this jungling phase.
Yeah, we see
So
now he's got that Zerka Greaves and a Cloth Armor, so this might go ahead and turn into a Madred's Razors. But the early Zerka Greaves is going to give him a lot of good mobility and move speed in the jungle, which is kind of what he needs in order to be effective throughout this game. It's also going to add quite a lot to his damage output. Attack speed is a very valued stat on Nocturne.
well, speaking of Nocturne, he is going to be in the mid going alongside Vladimir, but there's a ward down there, so nice ward placement from both teams. It's not going to allow Diamond to push down too aggressively. Maybe going to be trying this dragon, and suddenly out of the woodwork come 4 Russians to try this dragon, but there is a ward down there from CLG, so they know what's going on. Kog'Maw's going to fire in his ultimate a couple times, coming in from the top and the bottom. So Moscow 5 are getting pincered, but I don't think that CLG are going to all-out engage here because Olaf is at top, so it's 4v5. Dragon will be going down in a couple seconds. There we go. And the paranoia just to secure that dragon, taking away the visibility and making CLG stay in position. So nice dragon from Moscow 5.
Yeah, definitely. But like on one hand, you would agree that it's a 4v5, but you know, considering the comp that CLG are running, it actually would have not been such a terrible fight if they had fought that. However, Kog'Maw, Nautilus, and Morgana had used their ults prior in trying to get Vlad, so it would have not been the smartest choice to fight without those 2 very crucial ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, the depth charge from Nautilus and the Soul Shackles from Morgana are so pivotal, and going in without those crucial abilities would have been almost suicide. They are going to try going to Ghost Pepper, though, underneath that tower. And a nice stun comes in quickly. Depth charge has been used onto Tarek. He's going to try and move the threat of CLG away from his AD carry, so sacrificing himself. Kog'Maw will finish off that kill. And now the pings are going off and across towards Blue and Dragon, neither of which are up. So Nautilus will be pulling himself back towards that mid lane. But first blood to CLG, and looking strong here.
Ezreal is actually not a very good champion to pick against Kog'Maw, because once Kog'Maw can get those ranks in his W, or if Kog'Maw can exploit some advantage early game, which kind of just what happened now, he got a 400 gold advantage there, it's going to be difficult for Ezreal to really do much. I mean, he's 5 CS behind Ezreal, but now with his first blood, giving it to Kog'Maw of all champions, it's just the perfect champion for it to be on. The quicker Kog'Maw can pick up those levels and items, the better it is for CLG, since they're running a very high CC team. On the other hand, though, you saw that they intentionally let Kog'Maw get that kill, which is something you guys should take notice, that sometimes it's not always the best thing to have the jungler get kills. Sometimes it's best to just run alongside and make sure you're there. If the kill does sort of start to get away, you kind of let your laners get the kill. The laners are the ones who can use it most effectively, since now, if Snoopy had gotten the 400 gold, it's going to help him a lot more than it's going to help his team. However, if he's going to use that 400 gold for an Oracle, that's something else. But if he's going to use it to build items, that's really going to be a very selfish way to use that gold. Whereas if you give it to someone like, for example, if Olaf got first blood over Darien, that 400 gold will be moved towards snowballing top lane, which makes a huge difference.
Yeah, fully agree. And obviously, Kog'Maw picking that one up at bot lane is going to try his best to pick up a few more kills alongside that, get a hatful of frags. But so far, he's going to be pulling himself back. Very close on goal difference once again. We said that time and time again tonight between these two teams, these two behemoths of the League of Legends EU scene. And it's so close, very tense as well. Snoopy will be going in for some more counter jungling onto Wraith. Here comes Vladimir onto Frog, and this may not work out for Alex Ich as he eats 2 ultimates in the process. He's going to pop off the Sanguine Pool. Here comes the ultimate though from Nocturne. Paranoia being used, Unspeakable Horror on top of that, and the Dark of Shroudness to make sure that he didn't eat any dark bindings for his troubles. But nothing really comes of that gank other than a lot of ultimates being used.
Dark of Shroudness. Sorry, I had to chuckle slightly. It's a Shroud of Darkness. But yeah, you saw him kind of go in. Yeah, you kind of saw him go in on that. Alex had used his ult though. If Alex had had his ult there, maybe they would have been able to go for the Nautilus. But you know, they kind of just lack the damage and survivability to stay in that area.
I'm just throwing it out there. The spell should be renamed to Dark of Shroudness. That's so cool. It's nothing to do with me failing. Well,
if it made sense in the English dictionary, maybe.
Well, I'm just gonna move on.
If it made sense
that
in
was
any dictionary, maybe.
The Dark of Shroudness. It sounds cool though, dude. Either way, I apologize. The Shroud of Darkness, of course. But yeah, no kills did go down in that exchange. Lots of abilities being popped off, regardless, really. But yeah, we're gonna be going back to that farm fest between the two teams. Gold is identical, 17.2 on the dot. Top lane, let's have a look how that one's working out for Wicked. He has the Glacial Shroud and the Cloth Armor alongside Ninja Tabi, so really stacking that armor against Darian, who currently has himself Ninja Tabi boots. He's got the Phage and he has the dagger alongside the Sapphire Crystals. So very likely going to be building towards that Trinity Force. In the mid, you're going to have Hextech Revolver on the Vladimir alongside Cage's Lucky Pick, and for Morgana, 2 rings, Doran's rings and boots, but she does have nearly 3,000 gold at her disposal.
Wicked building pretty much the same that he usually builds. He goes for that Frozen Heart and then Randwood's Omen. But I'm really happy to see that you said Cage's Lucky Pick. A lot of people say Kage's Lucky Pick. It's just wrong because the Cage's Lucky Pick is actually a tribute to Tenacious D.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a tribute to the pick that Cage had prior to trying to find the pick of Destiny. That's just some quick trivia. I find that very interesting to say. And yeah, absolutely. The Deathfire's Grasp has become an item that's been being bought a lot more on champions like Vlad and Mordekaiser. You may not see them often, but champions like Mordekaiser and Vladimir can really benefit. It can be really good on any AP champion that has to come in a little bit closer than usual. Champions like Annie, Ari, TF, Mordekaiser can really utilize that item to such extent that it's like an extra spell. It is an extra spell, and it adds way too much to your burst combo to be neglected. 15% cooldown reduction and 80 AP, a lot for a very, very affordable price. And on the other hand, look, Morgana just finished her Hourglass. She's going to be a very, very scary person to deal with. So much CC coming out of Moscow 5 that I'm beginning to think that the Zerker Greaves that Diamond invested into might not have been the best possible choice.
Yeah, lots and lots of CC for CLG here, as Morgana, alongside that Hourglass, is going to be such a pain for Moscow 5 to try and counteract. Now he's Dark Binding landed on towards Darian, massive black shield onto Nautilus, and he is going to be very scary with that. Either way, lots of pings going down. Of course, Dragon is back up, and another feature of this matchup. Dredgeline used onto Darian. We are going to have the Paranoia used back, though, from Diamond Proc straight on towards Soraka, so trying to focus out that support. Morgana will pick up the first one onto Irelia. There goes the ultimate from Ezreal, who has positioned himself back at the team fight. Alex H very nearly falling, but using that Sanguine Pool to pull himself out of that situation. And just the one kill goes down on towards Darian. A couple players flashing up red, more notably Vladimir with only about 150 HP remaining. Dragon is going down from CLG with a constant harass coming in from Genja towards the north side, and they are going to be picking that one up. So CLG get the kill and the Dragon and move ahead 1.3k gold.
Yeah, definitely. Not getting that kill was not the worst of situations because that opened up Dragon for them. And CLG really making the best out of a situation. Wicked goes back and picks up his Frozen Heart. This looks totally like a Warwick build right here. This is essentially what Warwicks usually build against an AD. And I fear that until Kog'Maw, if Kog'Maw can't get the items, that CLG might be lacking in some damage if Wicked continues to build this way.
Alrighty, well, Kog'Maw does have the Zeal and the Cloak of Agility, so more than likely going to be building towards that Phantom Dance. So going to be looking to put down a lot of quick fire pain on the opposition. Let's have a look there as Nautilus did go back towards Spawn. Just adds a Null Magic Mantle and the Ruby Crystal as well, so maybe going for the Aegis Legion, especially now that he's also picked up that Cloth Armor. He does have 90 gold in his back pocket, but does have the 2 gold per 10 items, so of course it's going to cost him 1,050 more gold to finish off that Aegis Legion. In the meantime, Darren's going to go very aggressive onto Wicked, popping off the Transcendent Blades, the Equilibrium Strike, and everything else, throwing the Garden Shed at Wicked, who is just going to chug through a health pot with, of course, that Frozen Heart. He's going to be very, very tanky for this stage of the game, and it's just going to go back to how many creeps they can both pick up. Nocturne is going to be moving his way to top as well, but there is a ward in that Tribush. Lots of pings have came down from CLG, making sure Wicked knows of Nocturne's positioning, and Nocturne's going to place the ward and pull back to his red.
DFG completed on Vladimir and Phantom Dancer completed on Kog'Maw. It seems like this Kog'Maw is really starting to pick up, and right now I'm really going to be scared for Moscow 5. If they're not able to get through the tank line that is, Morgana, Olaf, and Nautilus. Yes, I will consider Morgana a tank line, especially with her Zonias and her ult. I fear that CLG is having a very unstoppable comp for late game.
I agree, actually. I think Morgana is very tanky in this sense, because once Soul Shackles is going off and the Zhonya's Hourglass is popped, no one wants to be close to her. So indirectly, she's very tanky, because no one wants to be close to when that procs off. So you do have a lot of really beefy champions to cut through as well. Nautilus has gone quite tanky. You also have Olaf, who has the Frozen Heart. You must have a fair amount of gold as well. Yeah, he's got 860 coming up. And if you compare that to the other team of Moscow 5, the only really tanky champion they're going to have is Darian. Of course, Vladimir does get a lot of HP, but he's going to get cut through relatively quickly. And that Sanguine Pool is going to just alleviate him from the team fights on top of that. So you have to feel that Moscow 5 are going to have to start to bring this comeback on its trails very shortly before it gets out of control.
Diamond tends to build quite tanky on Nocturne. Like, as you see, he's got a Heart of Gold, and he usually picks up an Aegis right about now. Aegis being one of the most effective items in the game, just because of how effective it is in cost. It gives you so much in terms of a full item, but also the fact that you can build it of 3 small pieces makes it so much more attractive. The fact that it gives a lot of stuff for the team that people don't realize how effective it is. When you're sitting in the middle of your team, when all 5 of you are getting affected by Aegis, it really makes a big difference to team fight. I think that Aegis is such a good item that every team needs to have one. And on champions like Nautilus, it helps him out because Nautilus actually has very poor armor scaling, and it's also going to allow him to keep up with the magic resist, HP, and armor all for one very affordable item.
So we do have a fairly slow pace game again here. 21 minutes through. I think we had first blood at about 11 minutes. And just the 2 kills have been exchanged, both going into the pocket of CLG, who move themselves 1.9, nearly 2k ahead. The Dragon is going to feature again relatively shortly on the battlefield, and it has just really gone down to the whole farming stage. We're going to have a few more items picked up. Phantom Dancer has been finished off from Cogmore previously. You are going to have the pickaxe added to that one. Soraka goes back and picks herself up Heart of Gold. She has the Philosopher's Stone since very early on in this game, and the Ruby Crystal. And if you have a look over towards Moscow 5, 2 of their players are going to be opting for that Trinity Force, both Ezreal and Irelia.
Yeah, Irelia is going to be going for this Triforce for sure. Triforce Rush is a very common build on Irelia, and I feel that it's a very good, effective way to sort of bring out the best of everything that Irelia can offer. She's very tanky without any tank items, kind of like an Udyr, because of her sustain. And on top of that, the amount of damage she can do is just otherworldly. I mean, you really just can't expect the amount of damage it can just pull out of nowhere.
Well, we did have an engage at top lane between Froggen and Darian. Darian getting on very, very low health there. Froggen actually popped the Zhonya's Hourglass. So maybe trying to stop that Transcendent Blade from landing upon him and giving Darian some health back. But we'll be going towards those golems. Nocturne comes back round as well. Going to fill in the gaps at top lane. And you also have the mid coming under heavy attack from CLG. 4 players strong against Vladimir and Tarek. Vladimir has started off with the Hemo Plague. Is he going to follow up onto this one? Answer is a resounding no. Just trying to harass them back. But they will pick up that tower regardless. So that goal difference goes to 30.2k to CLG. 27.8 for Moscow 5, and Wicked is moving his way towards top. So are they going to try a dive on towards Diamond? It's all going to be down on whether this Dark Binding lands. Are they going to wait for him to recall? Yes, they will. So not going to be trying a tower dive just yet. And just waiting now.
I fear that Wicked might not have enough damage when it come around late game. I mean, yeah, his Kog'Maw is going to be doing the damage, but if Kog'Maw dies, pretty much all their damage goes down the toilet. I mean, on Moscow 5, you have 4 champions that are capable of doing very high damage. But on CLG, I mean, Morgana's going to use her ult and her Q and her W, but behind that, Morgana's not necessarily known for her late game damage. Froggen top lane is going to allow Moscow 5 to pick up this dragon. Yes, Moscow 5 was able to pick up this dragon.
Yeah, and now, well, this is in a horrible position. Here comes a paranoia from the Nocturne, but not going to be able to land a kill. Wicked's now trying his best to tank all that damage from Moscow 5, and he is successful. So they do pick up the dragon, but no kills exchanged. Nautilus is flashing red, but it's not going to bother him a great deal as he's relatively tanky. And just having a quick look, yes, he has finished off that Aegis of the Legion, and as you said before, such an important item for that team fight staged. Mid tower does go down here from Moscow 5, so they have clawed it back to 1. So 2-1 on towers, 2-1 overall in the Medion Challenge finals here to CLG. So Moscow 5 really up against it here. Have to
Genj
bounce
is
back.
maxing his W over his E. No, I play quite a bit of Ezreal. He's one of my favorite AD carries, and Genj just seems to be favoring this W spam. It's very good if he can get it onto Kog'Maw. It also negatively affects Nautilus slightly because his W benefits a lot from his attack speed. Though it's not going to be the main reason he's using that, the W also has quite good range, so it's going to hit Kog'Maw all the way in the back. It also adds quite a bit to his burst, since you can't really rely on E to hit the right person most of the time. Ezreal now finishing his Trinity Force, he's going to be able to move around really fast and deal quite a bit of damage. I'm not going to go ahead and say tons of damage because that's just not the case right now. Lots of people have armor on CLG. We got Morgana with armor, Olaf with armor, Nautilus with quite a decent amount of armor. It's a little less than 100. It's nothing really huge, but it's still armor. And, you know, Soraka is going to give someone a lot of armor. I really fear that, like, now at this point, Ezreal really needs a Last Whisper in order to just deal some damage. And I hope, yes, they're going to give this blue buff to Ezreal, which is going to be hugely important for him to spam his abilities more.
Definitely, he's going to be able to spam away those Qs all day long alongside the W as well. As you said, he has maxed that one out. So Essence Flux has 5 points. You can have Mystic Shot with 5 and Arcane Shift with just the 1. So definitely opting for that raw damage. Arcane Shift is such a good spell on Ezreal though. It just gives him an escape, basically like a mini flash, and he has the Summoner Spell Flash on top of that. So he's going to be very difficult to lock down. Going to be given free reigns as well for his bot creep wave and try and catch up and get that gold back in his hands. How much does he have? He's got 196 creeps farm right now compared to Kog'Maw's 226. So he is definitely behind, but it's nothing too serious just now. You're going to have Nocturne pushing his way towards top lane.
I disagree with you when you say it's nothing too serious. At this point, Kog'Maw is ridiculously damaging Ezreal at this point. The Phantom Dancer into almost Infinity Edge, it's quite a noticeable difference. I mean, all Kog'Maw needs right now is like 700 more gold for him to complete Infinity Edge. And once that happens, his damage is going to be almost unmatched, maybe matched only by Irelia's damage output. So, I mean, maybe the difference in CS isn't big. The difference in gold is it's about 1,000 gold. So, you know, it's a pretty big difference, and it's not something that can easily be ignored at this point.
True, but I don't think the creep score is going to factor into the item build that we see here. Obviously, Ezreal's gone for Trinity Force, but you know, Kog'Maw has by and large focused those damage-dealing items a bit more. He's got the Phantom Dance and the Pickaxe alongside the BF Sword, whereas Ezreal has kind of put his chips into a more tanky. We are going to have the engage at top here. Darren goes down from Morgana, but 3 players were congregating around him. You have the other 2 starting to chime in as well. That top tower will be getting dropped here from CLG, who are looking to push this victory too and take the championship at 3-1. Nocturne needs to be a bit careful because Morgana has spotted her prey but didn't even fire off a Dark Binding, not seeing it worthwhile. And with Irelia being down at top lane here, it's going to be difficult to see how Moscow 5 can bounce back. Hemoplague has been used from Alex, just trying to alleviate the pressure, pushing them back. The ultimate has came in from Kog'Maw. Dark Binding has landed as well. Alex eats a lot of damage, and he's going to have to go back.
Very desperate ult. He's like, get off the turret! No! Here comes Ezreal ult, but you know, he's not really stacking AD, so the ultimate doesn't really do that much damage. And CLG are going to take this next turret with just a little bit of, you know, defense on it. Vladimir now picked up Rabadon, so you know he's going to be dealing quite a lot of damage. That the EFG is going to be hitting for 40% of the target's current HP. If he can do that with the Hemoplague on them, it's going to add an extra, what is it, like 15%? 12% damage. And it's all about now if Moscow 5 can really combo the Vlad ult with their they have some AoE, not a whole lot, but if they can combo it with their AoE, it might just win them a team fight. Otherwise, I don't think that they have a very strong team fight compared to CLG.
Oh, Darren getting caught out of position there, does eat a reckless swing. Kog'Maw ultimates coming in. Moscow 5 did start on the Baron there, but CLG had a ward, so they acted very quickly. Managed to get Moscow 5 off the Baron. and now CLG are going to pull back to their jungle. But you feel there's an air of desperation right now about Moscow 5, that they really want to make something happen. They realise that they are behind, albeit not massively behind for about 30 minutes through the game, but they know how strong CLG are at kind of focusing that lead and taking it home for a victory. So again, Kog'Maw's going to be poking. You have the Dark Binding coming out from Morgana, and all that needs to do, apologies, is to connect, and then it's going to put down a lot of pain on whoever that does actually take out the team fight. So it's going to be scary stuff for Moscow 5 here. They're going to have to tread on very, very thin ice.
Yeah, Genja could really use a Last Whisper right about now. If he gets his Last Whisper, he's going to start actually being a little bit scarier than now. But I don't know if Genja's going to build Last Whisper. I mean, we never know. He's got about 2,000 gold. He's about 100, maybe 200 gold away from actually being able to one-buy that item. But you see his damage is, even against Snoopy, who only has 100 armor, it's not really significant.
Yeah, I was talking about before the Dark Binding. It did manage to land the Darien. We are going to have the Dredge line picked up there, and the Hemo Plague in the meantime. I'm going to have an Engage kicking off. Paranoia's been popped from Nocturne. The Fear onto Wicked, but Ragnarok will save him from that. Hourglass and the Soul Shackles from Morgana, who will take down Alex H. He tried his best in the Sanguine Pool to negate that damage. Now Diamond's coming under all kinds of pressure. Olaf will get one onto Tarek. Nocturne goes down from Morgana, and that's what I was talking about in a nutshell. Those team fights, if Morgana can land a couple Dark Bindings, she is going to take people out of the team fight before it even begins. And that's going to be 3 players for 0. And that's going to leave a Baron open as well for CLG. 6-0 ahead. And it's looking difficult to see how Moscow 5 can come back into this one.
3,000 gold advantage, but even with that advantage, the focus from Arian is going to get picked off right there with a beautiful binding from Froggen. I mean, it just shows that. I mean, in that last team fight, I just want to make something clear. Alex used his ultimate onto Wicked, who was just, not only his ultimate, he uses DFG. They focused a lot of their damage on Wicked, and I see this as a recurring pattern that happens in the games. They try to get Wicked, and it doesn't really work out for them, because Krepo is just immediately going to jump onto him and heal him for all his HP back.
Well, Dragon is going to be free for CLG on top of everything else that's working against Moscow 5, so their woes are going to continue. Arcane Shift used from Genja just to escape. And Moscow 5 are in the danger zone right now. 2-1 behind, they cannot afford to lose another game. It is a best of 5, so CLG 2-1 ahead. And Moscow 5 staring at defeat down the barrel of a gun. CLG do have Baron. They are 5.7k ahead, 2 towers ahead, and a lot of items ahead. You have a Randuin's Omen coming out from Olaf, so a very similar build that we saw to that in the first game from Wicked, who took Olaf then as well. He had the Frozen Heart and also the Randuin's Omen, trying to get in the faces of Moscow 5 and really slow them down.
It's the exact same build, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And especially alongside Morgana, Randuin's Omen plus Soul Shackles equals pain. That's going to be horrible for Moscow 5 to counteract. I failed math.
I failed to see how that makes any mathematical sense. Morgana now picked up a Void Staff. Oh wow! Anybody who tries to build magic resist is just going to take a huge amount of damage. Though I think that Abyssal Scepter might be a little bit better because there's no one else on that team. Maybe Nautilus would be picking up an Abyssal Scepter, but aside from Nautilus, who it's going to take him quite a long time to build it, I don't see anyone on the team who would generally build an Abyssal Scepter.
Well, just saw Zeke's Herald getting picked up from Tarek there. And Hex Drinker for Irelia. Rabadon's Deathcap has been finished off for Vladimir. But still, I'm looking at the team compositions, I'm looking at the items, I'm looking at that Baron, and I'm just thinking CLG have this in the bag. Moscow 5 are going to have to pull out a huge couple plays consecutively to pull themselves back in this game. Kog'Maw, again, CLG is going to opt for this pokey poke kind of mentality and tactic, and really try and starve Moscow 5 behind this tower. Here comes the Dark Binding. Doesn't manage to land, but that tower is taking a lot of damage in the process from Kog'Maw, who pops off the W. Look how quickly and consistently he's popping in those auto attacks with that Phantom Dancer. And he also has the Infinity Edge. We do have a Dark Binding landing there from Morgana, and a Kog'Maw ultimate will follow up. And this mid tower should be going down relatively soon. So Moscow 5 just getting pushed back further and further and further. CLG are real pros at this mentality and this tactic.
Absolutely. We've seen them run it very confidently these past few games. And yeah, I mean, so that should get picked over.
Well, we are going to have a team fight. It's going to be the last stand for Moscow 5. Nobody has fallen just yet. Lots of ultimates being exchanged, though. Tarek dangerously low health, very nearly gets finished off from Cogmore, will heal himself back up. So we did see the Irelia Transcendent Blades coming out there. We also saw Depth Charge used from Nautilus, but neither of them were picking up those kills. Olaf is now just going to go ahead and tank that tower. He has Cogmore behind him, so this is going to disappear very, very quickly. And Moscow 5 have gone back to spawn, healed themselves up, and they're going back to the inhibitor, but I don't think they can hope to challenge CLG underneath the inhib right now, and that is going to be mid-inhib falling. 3 games in a row that the mid-inhib has gone down, and 3 games after that, the team that received that first of all have lost. So Moscow 5 really up against it.
Moscow 5 now trying to get out of their base to try to figure something out, but CLG will follow in pursuit. Yellow Pete should be careful about venturing alone. I mean, Moscow 5 may be down, but they can still do some considerable damage to Yellow Pete. And the fact that they're able to siege these towers so well is just because Kog'Maw, along with champions like Caitlyn, are one of the best champions for pushing turrets. They have such long range. Lest I forget, Tristana is also is a considerable beast. Champions like, Corky's, champions like Urgot aren't exactly so good at pushing turrets because their low range make them very vulnerable to taking hits from the enemy team. So it's really nice that they have this Kog'Maw in order to... They have the protection for him, they have good engage, they have pretty good disengage.
Oh, Darian's going to be going down. Your depth charge hit on Soul Shackles afterwards from Morgana, but maybe a tiny bit premature there as Genja was able to escape with his life. That is going to leave it in a 4v5 though. Underneath that tower, Hemoplague has been popped on again. Ezreal Ultimate comes right through, and the Hourglass has been popped from Morgana. Will she be able to survive and pull back? Looks likely as a couple heals are used. Plethora of action. Ezreal has been dropped there, and Nocturne is going to have to pull back just to save his life. Alex in all kinds of trouble. He's going to get down from Cogmore, and the Randuin's Omen just to finish things up nicely. And that right there should be the GG coming in. Vladimir down for 50 seconds. Ezreal for 35. Second inhib has just fallen, and Cogmore is going to be teeing off on those Nexus towers. First Nexus tower has just fallen. Going to be opting for this second, and CLG can smell, it can touch, it's tangible. They're going to be crowned champions of the Medion Cup Challenge. Second consecutive tournament that we've casted that they'll best Moscow 5. And there we go, Nexus goes down. So congratulations to CLG, commiserations to Moscow 5. Awesome games at the end. 3-1 takes it.
Yeah, absolutely awesome play from CLG. At first I was a little bit worried that their comp might not have enough damage, but it seems like they played it well enough that they were able to concentrate all their damage output on one person at a time. Not to take too much more, and then they focused a lot on turrets. Kog'Maw, 2-0-5 with 305 creep kills, doing so much damage just because he was able to just get those items a lot earlier than Ezreal.
Alrighty, well, I have a few things to mention here, guys. First of which is, if you want to win yourself a bucket full of Medion goodies, head on over to www.esportsheaven.net. I think Bass will link you in the chat, or maybe show you on the stream how you get there. All you have to do is vote for the MVP, and if you are correct, you put yourself in contention to win lots of goodies like mice even, and also speakers and such like that. So definitely get heading over there. If you like what you've seen tonight, you can follow us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Chaos TV. If you've missed a couple of the previous games and you're interested to see how they went down, it's youtube.com/Chaos Contingency. Bass will be uploading those videos either tonight or probably tomorrow, as it's quite late now. You can follow Broken Shard on where?
www.facebook.com/BrokenShardStream. You can also find me on the EUS chat room, brokenshard.stream. Wait, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It's www.facebook.com/BrokenShardStream, and there's an EUS chat room, brokenshard.stream, all lowercase. Come on in, have a chat, tell me what you think about my casting. If you like me, follow me, and give me the support. I had a lot of fun. Don't forget to like Chaos TV, follow them. Follow Metas, such a great caster, and I honestly had such good fun tonight. Good job to CLG, and congratulations.
Yeah, CLG looked so strong. It's not necessarily the best kind of games to watch from a from a spectator's viewpoint, but I mean, there's no doubting that they're on top of their game right now and real formidable opponents. If you want to follow myself, it is facebook.com/MetasTV. A couple of people were just asking there, and really hope you enjoyed the coverage tonight, guys. We should be having more League of Legends actions coming up over the next week or two. Is there anything in conclusion, Bass, for me to wrap up here? Nope. He gave a
All
very
right.
short, sweet answer. So no.
Before
What were you
we
gonna say?
go off, I'd like just to make one final shout out to all the people who support me, my fans. Without you, I'd be going nowhere. Some people who helped out me setting my stream: Horo33, White Knight, Just Cuz, WinFact, Accolord. You guys have helped me out so much, helped me, teach me so much about the game, and I really would not have been anywhere without my friends and the people who helped me get there. So also thanks to QuickShot